Welcome to Next Up with NextGen, the podcast bringing you insights and perspectives from the next generation of leaders in the American Council of the Blind. Brought to you by ACB Next Generation.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Next Up with NextGen. My name is Greg Lindberg, and I am the current chair of the ACB Next Generation Publications Committee. Here on this episode, we have a recording from a recent Tuesday night huddle event, and the topic of this event is VIP coaching in the dark. And I think you'll really enjoy hearing from several members of this pretty new company that offers some very unique services to the blind and visually impaired community. So let's go ahead now and turn things over to Lindsay Levere from NextGen. Lindsay, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us tonight for ACB Next Generation's Tuesday Night Huddle. I am Lindsay Levere. I am your facilitator for tonight's event. Tonight, we will be speaking with members from VIP Coaching in the Dark. Tonight's event is sponsored by ACB Next Generation. And if you'd like to learn more about ACB Next Generation, check out our website at acbnextgeneration.org. I would first like to thank our Zoom host, Christine, for tonight, for helping us, as well as Joey Couch, and Mo Carpenter is here as well. Let's get started, and I will introduce the speakers for tonight from VIP Coaching in the Dark. So tonight we have Maria Byers, Teresa Christian, Desiree Christian, and Todd Falstrom. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. So if each of you could just take a couple minutes to introduce yourselves so everyone can get to know each of you, and then we will get started in tonight's program.
My name is actually pronounced Marja. I'm Marja Byers. I live in Salem, Oregon. I lost my peripheral sight in 2010. It's actually the third time in my life I've been legally blind. I've kind of been in and out of sight loss and low vision a good portion of my life. This time it's for keeps. My primary condition is actually Marfan syndrome. We don't really understand exactly why I'm losing my field of vision, but it's continuing to go. So I don't spend any time worrying about it. I just keep on doing what I'm going to do. I live by myself with my lunatic cat, Lucy, who came to live with me a week after I retired my first guide dog, Fritz, almost 2 years ago. I'm working with the VIP coaches currently. I'm also very involved with Blind Skills, which is currently a special interest affiliate of ACB of Oregon. That's a little bit about me. Teresa, I pick you next.
I was about to just say, so funny, go. Okay, I'm Teresa Christian. I'm in Portland, Oregon. Desiree and I are a mother-daughter. Let's see, I lost my sight when I was 8. We have a syndrome called Stickler syndrome that involves some other aspects besides just being blind. And I was a massage therapist for 15 years, a social worker, and then became a life coach. And I have another business on the side where we do gaming, like D&D, like gaming, for blind people. So that's kind of a different thing than what we're doing with this. I guess that's it for now.
I am Desiree Christian. That was my mom. I, once upon a time, used to be a member of NextGen and was also on a few of the committees. Life happened. So it's been a few years. Let's see. I, again, like Mom said, genetic condition. I seem to be the black sheep of the family, as in I still have some usable sight. It's not great, so I'm an in-betweener. I've got some sight, some vision, and sometimes I use magnification, and sometimes I even use voiceover, not just on my iPhone, but on my computer. I watched both of my grandpa and my mom be amazing role models. So for me, the name of the game is, well, of course, I can go pretty much do 99% of the stuff out there. Um, you know, Hopefully in a few years, driving. Granted, it's in an automated car, but heck, my own individual transportation all by myself. Don't have to wait around to get a ride. Be amazing. So I do been doing VIP coaching in the dark. I run the website and the blog. Of course, do the calls. My thing tends to be crafting, making, that sort of stuff. And living a little bit more of a quasi in between versus strictly magnification or strictly voiceover. And I know there's a lot more, it's just not coming to my brain.
Last but not least, Todd Falstrom. I live in Bozeman, Montana. I have retinitis pigmentosa. I stopped driving when I was 22, and 10 years ago, I lost the ability to do large print magnification. At this point, I need to be able to use my cane and can't fake it anymore. I'm one of those RPers in denial, good old river. And and I am a former guide dog user. Had a chocolate lab for 6.5 years and retired him last September. And so I'm reacquainting myself with that wonderful stick. I am a certified rehab counselor. Did that in Colorado for 7 years, worked with a lot of the blind population, lived in Minneapolis, was connected to Vision Loss Resources. That's where my connection, mentorship, mentee, advocacy, like my life changed in 2004 when I lost my job as a manager, and started getting connected to the blind community, and that's what I do is networking. I was introduced to ACB nationally in 2015 with a Durwood K. McDaniel Scholarship. Went to Dallas, and then Marja and I were on a committee together for the DKM, and a great opportunity to be a part of the leadership. And when I was let go from our last employer, we all joined together, and I've been with this crew for 2 years now. We're just about on. I teach the Exploring Life Skills for Independence, and then I help out with the other components, and I'm the Type A Todd, so I try and help them, Marja, Teresa, and Desiree stay on track. I'm the administration and support team, and we always pause once in a while to say 1, 2, 3, and yeah, and I am married with 2 kids, 2 teenagers in the house, and have 4 grandkids, and so just glad to be here, glad to support the VIP Coaching in the Dark business, and we're looking forward to impacting people coming forward.
Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. So let's jump right in and get started. So what is VIP Coaching in the Dark, and how did it all get started?
Okay, who wants to take that one?
The first one that speaks gets to do
Todd.
it. Go ahead, Marja.
Nice.
You know I'm not going to sit here. My mama didn't raise no quiet kids. My brother says that. So VIP Coaching in the Dark, I'm going to start with how did we get started? As Todd said, we were working together as a team and had been working together as a team doing Zoom calls through the Hall Foundation. And when they announced that in 2 weeks, the Zoom program is going to end. We were pretty devastated because we really felt like we have something unique. We are a team that works extremely well together. We have gone through some pretty major life events as our team. And when those events have happened, the folks on Zoom had no idea what was going on. We just quietly fill in for each other when somebody needs time and space to deal with life. That's unusual, I think, to work with what you think of as an A team. I've been fortunate to be part of an A team when I worked hospital environment, and it was so special, and I felt it was impactful. We really couldn't see stopping our calls, so we decided, well, there's a few of them that we're going to continue, like Chat Cafe, which we will be doing tonight right after this call. And it is an offshoot of something that Teresa started before COVID. It was actually in 2019, if I am correct.
No, it's right. When COVID started, when they started the community calls. So, yeah.
We just didn't want to let it go. And as we talked amongst ourselves, one of the things that we really understood about us is we have an unusual set of skills, strengths, talents. Another thing that's very unusual about us is we have everything from total to high partial. With correction, I am correctable to 20/20, but I have about a 10-degree field of vision. So Teresa, who's totally blind, is going to use her phone completely different than I do. So we can cover a more of the spectrum of blindness for specific tasks. State services in Oregon have been pretty good, though we are moving into order of selection, which means a lot of folks are not going to be getting the services, particularly the older independent blind folks are not going to be getting much in the way of services. VIP coaching in the dark is going to be able to help fill in some of those gaps. Folks, help me out. What other things do you want to fill in here?
Well, the other thing that I'm really keen on is that we are very happy able to work with people with vision changes. And I know all of us here are pretty darn comfortable with the word vision loss, legal blindness, all the things. But as you darn well know, you go out into the rest of the world and they're pretty scared of that sort of language. So we tend to try to avoid it and say vision changes. And there's a lot of folks out there, particularly older generations, who have vision changes, but they don't recognize necessarily they need help. Like we do, they just understand that their daily life has been affected and they're kind of at a loss. I'm sure many of you have offered to help somebody else. And as soon as they hear that you're blind, oh no, I'm not there yet. I don't need any help. So we're trying to really breach the gap there and reach that market. I shouldn't even say market, reach those people, who could use that extra help and support and adaptation, and who might not even necessarily qualify for any, sort of services, because most of the services available are if you want to go back to work. And as Marja said, even now they're going into order of selection and it's not just in the state of Oregon, but across the country, so many places have lost their services. So even if you had Evoke Rehab or Commission for the Blind that had a little bit of services for seniors, that's totally, that's essentially gone at this point in most places. So, to be able to help those people go through the life adjustment and all the big emotions that happen, sit with them as well as give them practical tips, tools, tricks, whatever they need, to address that. And like Marja said, when she says we all come have different, things like, Mom and Todd are very familiar with using JAWS. I happen to be a Mac user. So because I walk the world between using the voiceover on across the Mac environment, as well as low vision, I can then pull those those technology skills into somebody who wants to be there. Versus Marja, she's totally still using it as a low vision user. So we've got skills that bridge the gap. All four of us can teach daily living skills, whatever somebody needs. But again, because we're coming at it from four different aspects, we can cover those gaps. Or like, say, if somebody wants to get those lessons, but they're not keen, say, working with me, I get it, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but they might enjoy, say, working with Marja or Mom or Todd. They have options to do that. It's not just a one-trick pony. Unlike, when you go to Voc Rehab, you're stuck with whoever you get, and it's a pain in the butt to switch. Like, no, it's a simple conversation. If I don't want to work with her, I want to work with somebody else. Like there's a lot of flexibility and customizability that we can do, which is kind of awesome.
Definitely having that spectrum of vision loss and different tools. The clients can pick us as far as what skill level, and we can pick and choose. It's pretty flexible, and any one of us can jump in and support each other. And so, like Desiree today jumped in to help out for a half an hour on exploring life skills because life happened, and it's nice being a part of a team that works so well together. We're very flexible, and we can customize the service doing peer-to-peer coaching or consulting for folks. And what it was it in September we were officially a business, or was it in August?
September. Yep.
Yeah. So we're still working on different things, but we can actively take clients currently, and we have the website, and it's nice. All of us take turns doing the blog, and we're going to be doing some cross trainings. So it'll be nice to be able to learn different aspects as we grow and we engage with clients and so forth.
That is awesome. So generally, who do you primarily serve in terms of clients?
This is the part that I really like. This is Marja. Anybody who asks. If somebody reaches out, I've been in situations working for nonprofits where people have come to me and said, I don't know if I qualify, because so many state services, you have to be legally blind or you have to be legally low vision for services. Well, has vision loss impacted your life? That's usually my basic question. Has vision loss, is it impacting your life? Yes, then you qualify. I really like to be able to help people who just reach out because they need support, regardless of what their age is and where they live.
So what gaps or needs do your program address for blind and low vision individuals?
It can be anything from adjustment to sight loss or major changes in your sight loss. That's really my jam. I do that's for whatever reason. That's what I'm good at. It may be life skills. It may be simple home repair things. Todd's great at that. It amazes me when I tell people that are new to sight loss who say, I can't sew anymore. Guess what? Desiree hand sews, she machine sews, and she can teach you, even without being physically there. Desiree can teach you how to sew. Crafting, which a lot of people think that's gone once they've become blind. And technology is always, particularly for seniors whose family were very kind and bought them an iPhone, and now they want to give that iPhone a very close up and personal relationship with the closest wall that they can check it at. So there is a lot of need out there, and it's kind of nice to be able to ask for specifically, I just want to work on this one thing. I don't need to go through a whole course. Just teach me how to use voiceover to be able to send text messages and to hear text messages. So you can really customize specifically what you want.
I think throughout the nation in the United States, we have access to Zoom, and as people are looking for services, or if they need supports, no matter where they are, because we use Zoom, and or we can even make phone calls, so we adapt. But you know, a possibility too is maybe a caregiver needs some guidance for supporting their client that's blind or visually impaired. You know, when I think about gaps, you know, I think the only thing we really don't do is go physically in person to people. And so, you know, that has some pluses and minuses, but the business is registered in Oregon, but we can serve anybody in the nation. Um,
or outside the nation for that matter.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of cool.
Yeah, because Zoom reaches wherever they are. So Canada or Australia or wherever, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so this kind of goes along with this question. So what type of services and coaching do you offer?
Reese is going to take this one.
Yeah, I was going to say, Teresa, talk about coaching.
Okay, well, basically it's coaching and resources, and like Margie was talking about, her jam is the adjustment piece. And so what coaching is supporting them, helping our clients kind of discover where they're really at and kind of explore that and where they want to go with it and the possibilities. And then also, like I said, providing resources, at their location, wherever they're at, kind of thing. So that cover it, you guys?
And even if we don't know the resources in the area, all of us are very happy to do research and find those resources for our clients.
I love doing that part. That's the other thing I really enjoy doing, and I'm pretty good at it.
That part is fun because then you get to learn about all kinds of new things in their area.
Yeah.
And I think all of us take that to the point of not just saying that something, like we see a thing on the internet. It's like we go check it out to make sure it is really truly there for the person, because it really sucks when somebody says, oh, here's a resource, and they don't really know what they're talking about. They just hear about it and think it's a thing, and then you go look and no, it's not really applicable to you.
And I think it's important too to distinguish between coaching and consulting.
Yes.
Because we do both. And I think one of you had a very distinct way of describing, and I don't think I will do as good as justice of doing that. But do you guys want to explain the difference between coaching and consulting?
Yeah. So with coaching, and this is going to sound really weird, you are the expert. The client is the expert, and it's our job as the coach is to bring forth, help them recognize, understand that they know them best. And okay, yes, you might be experiencing vision changes, but it doesn't mean the skills that you used to have aren't still applicable. They still apply. We will figure out how to adapt them to make it work for your life so you stay functional, but that's what we do. Consulting is where a client's coming to us because we are the expert. We know the resources. We know where to find them. We have the skills, etc. So, when we say we kind of do both, we very much bridge the gap because we do want to encourage the person. Like, just because they have vision changes doesn't mean that suddenly life is over and they're starting from scratch, because they're not. You never are. There's still a whole heck of a lot of things that they can still do and have access to. It's just, we as the coach go, hey, all right, try this, maybe try this. It's still there. So does that sum it up, Mom?
Yeah, I think that's great.
Well, and I really think that we should add that Teresa's been doing life coaching since 2007. And Desiree's currently taking training to be a certified life coach.
Yep.
And Marge is a peer
I'm a certified peer
coach.
support specialist in the state of Oregon.
And
And
I'm
then
a certified rehab counselor.
So basically, we're all certifiable.
Take that as you will.
Hey, I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all.
Agreed.
So, how do you feel that your work empowers individuals in their personal or professional journeys?
I think for me, it's given those clients or individuals the ability to get a different perspective, find tools that are going to work with them, and they have those aha moments of
Yep.
finding a pathway that's going to be successful for them. And it really is I've heard it, you can almost hear it when they're like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. And it gives them the ability to be thinking in a pathway that is really consistent with trying to find solutions to problems that they might be having or they're stuck. And so it's just nice to be able to give them an opportunity to explore avenues and see things from a different perspective.
Yeah, Todd, I agree. Those aha moments are the best. When
Yeah.
I remember telling someone years ago because he kept saying, I can't, I can't, I can't. He wanted to come into Salem, but he needed to take regional transportation to do it. I can't, I can't, I can't. So a week later, when I talked to him, he said, well, how would that look? And by the third week, he came into town. He did it on his own. And I had said to him, you can do everything that you did before your sight loss. You just have to learn to do it differently. We hear it all the time, but when he heard it for the first time, it was like a light bulb went on over his head. I just have to do it differently. And that simple aha moment opened up his brave switch. It like flipped a switch. And all of a sudden, he was much more willing to try things. I love seeing that kind of a change.
I think from a global perspective, we get so fearful of not trying because we have people that are assisting us and they don't let us try. Oh, let me do this for you, or here you
Yeah.
go. And they never have an opportunity to be able to try. And so when we get to consult or coach with them, we get to have them an opportunity to process things, us being more neutral where we can guide them and assist them. And I don't remember where I was going with that thought. Um,
That's it. Let them rediscover life as
yeah,
independent humans. Let them go be awesome. Show them how to go be amazing. Or it could be even beyond what they, were even doing prior to vision changes.
Oh, holy smoke, isn't that the truth?
Mm-hmm.
There is a reason that I have a tagline on my email, my personal email, that says, just when the caterpillar thought her world was over, she became a butterfly.
Oh,
I have
I
achieved
love that.
far greater success as a blind person than I ever did as a sighted person. I've had conversations with God and said, this is what you wanted me to do all along, isn't it? I have told people I went to God University with all the forms of sight loss that I've been through. I can relate to a lot of different people with eye conditions because I've been through so much in my life.
I think I gravitate towards John Wooden saying, "Don't let the things that you can't do get in the way of the things that you can do." And so we often will put up barriers, and we just kind of be willing to try and not let the things that we can't do get in the way of the things we can do.
Another thing that I really love um, is, a lot of people haven't been exposed to blind people, and so they think everything's over. And when they find out they're not alone, that's one of the things for me when they find out they're not alone and that they really can have a life. That's one of the things. One of the saddest things that I heard one time was this woman just about in tears saying, "I can't part my hair anymore." Like, yes, you can. So, and so many more things, but for me, that's the big thing. It's when they realize they're not alone. They've got a support system.
Well, and the one that really amazed me, I started a Wednesday morning coffee group here in Salem, Oregon. So every Wednesday morning for the last 6.5 years, we've been getting together at a coffee shop, and people at the Oregon Commission for the Blind will send people over, go over to the coffee shop. There's blind people there for you to meet. We had a lady who had come and she'd been legally blind for over 2 years, and she admitted to not going out of her house. She was staying inside almost all of the last 2 years. When she came to coffee, after about 40 minutes, she nudged my arm and she said, "But you all just seem so normal." And we started laughing, but then I realized, oh my word, that's why she's not been going out. Her perception of the blind community is that we're not normal. So by coming and having coffee with us, she finally figured out we're just like everybody else. We just happen to have white canes and guide dogs.
All right, Allison is up first.
Good evening, everybody. This is a great call. Great presentation so far. I have a comment and then a question. My comment is just the other day, this last Sunday, another friend of mine, he has a general chat on another chat system, and the topic was adult children that live with their parents. And they were saying that a lot of times, a lot of the parents aren't equipped to teach their blind adult children the independent skills they need. And too many parents, unfortunately, protect their children, and that's not a healthy thing to do. And a lot of these rehab programs that you go to do not have enough funding or money to have either job programs or enough instructors to go to each class. Mm-hmm. And my question is, I want to learn how to cook on both a gas stove and an electric stove. Do you think you could walk me and my parents to try to teach me to use the gas stove?
Oh, heck yeah. I love cooking on gas.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
So that's at least 3 of us, and I suspect Todd's got experience too. So it's okay. Who do you want to work with?
Yeah.
Flat top or the coils or gas. I've done it all. And food service actually was my first career. And I cook for the family, and we do not have gas in this home, but I have cooked with, when I had a trailer house in Mankato, Minnesota, I actually had a gas stove and have used it. And it's different, but it is definitely all 3, even microwave cooking. I've taught that before. And
hey, Google, was the tofu?
yeah.
And there's at least, I think, 2 of us that know how to use barbecues. So if you want to cook outside,
really, yeah.
we can tackle that too.
Next is Carla.
Hello, how are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Just pardon, I'm just not feeling well, so
Aw.
just bear with me and birth of the bullfrog who's residing in my throat right now.
No worries. You're just being human. It's all good.
Anyhow, my question to you, well, actually, thank you for doing this program. I was wondering what this was going to be all about, and my question, I guess I'm a little confused. It sounds like you primarily help people that have lost their sight, that have been sighted. Now, I've been blind, totally blind all my life, maybe a little bit of light perception. I mean, do you help people like me? And how does it work? I mean, what's the cost? And do we come to Oregon, or what happens? I'm a little bit confused as to how you can help and what you can do. You know what I mean? When I think of coaching, I was thinking more like counseling and motivation and giving you ideas how to do things, but it doesn't sound like that's what it is. And could you just tell us a little bit more about how it works and how you do what you do and who's eligible and cost and that?
So anybody who wants help is eligible. They just say, hey, it doesn't matter where you are at in your vision loss journey. Like in your case, you could, total from birth. If you've got something you want to work on, whether it is one of us being your cheerleader and you just need somebody in your corner, to learning something practical, to you want to connect with more community outside of ACD. Like that's what we really are, super customizable there to meet your needs. As far as cost, right now pretty much all the support groups are free. We even have one that happens outside of ACB. And if you want a one-on-one person, our rates are flexible. We'll meet you where you are at. Just get a hold of us and we'll figure it out. Did I cover? Does that cover? What am I missing, my fellow teammates?
I think a comment too that I thought when you were talking about blind folks that have been born blind, on the exploring life skills for independence, quite often we will get folks on there, gosh, I've been blind all my life and I never thought about doing it that way. And so yes, there are different ways of tackling every single problem, and everything has a solution for the most part. But we're finding over the years, as we've done ECB calls and other calls and worked with clients, is that sometimes getting it from a different perspective and figuring out a problem. And I would want to know, is there a certain challenge that you're currently faced with that maybe we can solve tonight?
I just feel sort of, when I compare myself to everybody in ACB and everything, I just feel like they're all so put together and with it, and they do this and they do that, and I just feel like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Now they're just playing so on TV. I mean, it's super easy to come in here and pretend like you've got it all together and like the perfect life and all that, but they're humans. Everybody here is human. And everybody's comfortable at a various different comfort level about, what they're into. So I know growing up in the blind community, I have watched, as technology has gone forth. Granted, this is my personal perspective, not the perspective of my 4 other colleagues here. My perspective is that, growing up and watching technology evolve, that there seems to be, and this could be controversial, that there seems to be this kind of like, if you don't know the latest technology, it's almost like there's something wrong with you, or if you can't afford it, or if whatever. And that's not, my perspective. And I think the other people, my other colleagues too, is it's like, what can we do that works for you? What can we problem solve? What can we brainstorm that works for you, that keeps you functional? All of it is valid. Just because I am the youngest member by a long shot between the 4 of us, I still value doing things the analog way. It's like, what can we use? Like, so how do you learn? How does your brain best hold on to information? What hobbies are you into, which that then could lead to an insight about how your brain works and possibly some bizarre creative way to get a particular task done that, nobody talks about. Nobody has said, nobody, or, for instance, I used to do the wardrobe solutions call, and a big topic that would come up is clothes identification, organization, etc. Well, we're all taught the proper way to do that is to either hang your clothes or fold your clothes. That doesn't always work for people. Sometimes it means that you roll your clothes up instead of folding them. Sometimes it means that you do silly things like hang your jeans if it makes you functional.
That's not
And
silly.
I know, and is the path of least resistance and doesn't feel like a big headache to you being functional. Let's do that. If it means that you're rolling up your t-shirts or your jeans or skirts, however you want to do it, it's the whole point is to find ways to keep you at one in your home, two as independent as you would like to be, and three functional, and it's all valid. It's whatever system you use, it is all valid.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Next is Lynn.
Hello, everybody. You guys know me.
Yeah,
The
we do.
coaching in the dark people know me. I'm sitting here sorting my Legos.
Legos,
Yay! I'm the
yay!
Lego girl. I'm the builder wannabe.
No, not wannabe. You are.
But what I wanted to say here was, you were talking about the order of selection, and that is such a sad thing because I know for myself, you know, sometimes the longer people stay in like a pattern of not doing things or a pattern of staying in the house or a pattern of being afraid and not getting the rehabilitative services they need, you kind of go into this quicksand where it's really hard. It's harder to get yourself out of it. And I think that's really the sad part of it. I know with blind people, if you go to a regular counselor, they're going to treat your depression like it's um, a typical depression. But for a lot of people, especially people losing their vision, the depression comes from the idea that, what is going to become of me? Like, what can I now do? And if these people are not given the right direction or services in a timely fashion, then you get into that self-pity thing and you get sucked down into that quicksand of, I can't, or and that's really the sad thing. I mean, I think that we need, like, even like people that have hip surgery, right? They got my mom up the same day. They were like, get up.
Yeah.
And it seems kind of cruel, but the longer you lay down, the longer you stop doing things,
You
the harder it
atrophy.
is
You
to,
atrophy.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You just sort of get into this pattern where if I can't, or, and that's why it's so important for people to get rehabilitative services as soon as possible. Because the
It's a
longer you
slow.
wait, the
I'm
quicksand sucks you down.
I'm a
Yeah.
rehab counselor, and I went through the order of selection in Colorado, and it was frustrating. But um, counselors should have a list of resources, and I've talked about this on exploring life skills for independence. Is having the 211 first call for help, whether it's support groups, food, clothing, shelter, anywhere in the nation. You can use that as a free resource. But uh, David Ramsey talks about small wins. You must have small wins to get to the big wins. Paying off your credit cards, the small ones first, because you have to have that, ring the bell, Pavlov kind of idea, and having those successes. And whether you take small steps and you get out of bed and you take a shower, that's a
Yep.
huge win. But it's the baby steps. And I would sit down with clients and do an intake with them, and I would give them a large print calendar, 11 by 14, and their eyes would get so big, like, oh my gosh, I can see and I give them a 2020 marker. Oh my gosh, I can read it. Or it's um, a signature guide. Oh my gosh, I can be, and it's those small wins that really big up to gaining confidence and stuff like that. And I was focusing on employment. I was double checking the website. It's mynextmove.org. It is for career change folks or folks that are not really sure where to go. And it literally says, in a few words, tell me what your dream job is. And I put in rock star, and it comes up with 25 jobs. And I'm like, oh, that's not me. But and so I work with clients on hobbies, interests, things that they're attracted to find a pathway that they can focus on. We had a massage therapist that literally couldn't do her job physically anymore, but she has that one-to-one contact, the client to massage therapist kind of role. But her hobbies, I'm like, well, what do you love to do? And she's like, I love to read. There's nothing that brings me more joy. And so I started, entering stuff into mynextmove.org and gave some options, and we settled on a librarian tech person. And she wasn't visually impaired, but we were able to customize a solution that was a really good fit for her, that tied into her hobbies, tied into the employment she was doing. And so as order of selection goes into order throughout the country, and we need resources, VIP Coaching in the Dark can come alongside and give people resources so they can have those small wins, and we can guide them to solutions that are going to work for them. And we won't have solutions for everything, but we're a team that is very, very solution oriented. We know supports throughout the different areas and where to guide folks. Does that make sense?
Yes. And one more thing I want to say is I know from being with the Feel and Forge and some of the other crafting projects that I've been involved in, and I think we all need to be in environments with people who say, yes, you can,
Yeah.
because society puts a lot of no, you can't, or you can't do this because. And so you have to counteract that. It's so important, to be around people who say, yes, you can. Yes, you can sew. Yes, you can read. Yes, you can do this and that and the other thing. And I think if people who are losing their sight, if they don't have exposure to people who say, yes, you can, then again, you fall into that helpless trap that, like I said, that quicksand that it's very hard to get out of. So anyway, I'll turn the microphone over, but I think you guys are doing a great thing, and I just love to be on your calls. So there you go.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.
How can coaching help blind or low vision individuals build confidence?
Just, meeting people where they're at. All of us have a plethora of overlapping skill sets as well as different skill sets. And we're not afraid to research. We're not afraid to ask one another if we're stuck on a client, or referring a client that we're working with to one of the other people that, might meet their needs better. I was going somewhere and my train of thought very much derailed.
I hate that. Well, I think some of it is knowing that they're working with people who are currently living a similar life experience, and just encouraging them that, yes, you really can do this, and we'll help you step through it, baby step at a time kind of thing.
So maybe that baby step is figuring out a way to brush your teeth consistently and floss your teeth consistently. Maybe one of the barriers is that you've got somebody sighted who lives with you and keeps moving around your stuff. All right, let's figure
That
out
never
how to take. So let's do some strategies, creative ways. Okay, how can we take some of the barriers away for you getting this tiny, weeny, teeny, small task done? Because that tiny, weeny, small task of having your teeth brushed before you leave the house could be the one thing that's keeping you from leaving the house. Because, oh boy, howdy, is it embarrassing to leave when you haven't your teeth brushed and your breath stinks and all the things. So, it could be tiny. It could be, all right, let's figure out a different way how to match your socks. Whatever it is. Baby steps, man, baby steps.
So, how does coaching differ from mentoring or counseling?
Well, mentoring and counseling, coming from a more expert perspective, and the coaching is kind of more a perspective of we're working with you, supporting you where you want to go. We're not deciding your goals for you. You're deciding your goals, and we're just helping you get there.
But I think counseling also addresses more mental health issues, and none of us are qualified to do that. We can tell you that you're having those things, and we would very much encourage somebody to go, seek professional help. That is not something we can do for you. We can sit, beside you, because all of us have experienced lots of life experience, and we can sit beside you and we can listen, but we are definitely not qualified to help you deal with it.
We're not therapists.
No, we are not. We'll go help you find one that works within your budget and meets your needs. We'll totally do that, but we cannot actually be that.
Well, how would you say that what we do differs from mentoring? I honestly think, because I've had a couple of really wonderful mentors, but the mentors that I've had, I don't know if they were doing it intentionally. They just became my mentors. And that to me is kind of the long term, somebody who's in your life for.
Short term versus long term.
Right.
And usually mentoring has a much, in my head anyway, I could be speaking out of turn, has a much more professional connotation. Like you're, seeking, some sort of leadership something, or some sort of professional something.
That's not always true, because the best mentor that I've ever had.
See, exactly.
Was B.T. Kimbrough, and I started working in the Blind Skills office. Blind Skills published Dialogue magazine, and y'all are probably too young to have known Dialogue. BT was the director, and he was also the editor of Dialogue. And I think that he kind of made a decision in his head that he was going to help mentor me, because I grew up low vision. We had a discussion one day in the office about echolocation. And I said, I don't think I use echolocation. And he said, wait a minute, you grew up low vision. Chances are you've been using it your whole life. You just haven't recognized you were doing it. I started paying attention to how I was using my cane. I went, holy cow, he's right. I didn't realize there were certain areas that I would tap my cane to get the feedback to figure out where doors were open or walls were. So he just quietly sat close to me in the office and fed me all sorts of things that I didn't know about. He's my blind mentor. And I got to tell you, I love having a blind mentor. It's made a huge impact on my life. But once again, that was long term. It was in the office for about a year and a half. So I was lucky.
Could you share a success story or an example of impact that you had from any of your clients?
Well, I'm thinking about someone that I had referred to me it was a mobility instructor from the Commission for the Blind, and they were in the middle of doing a mobility lesson, and their client had a pretty bad meltdown. And the mobility instructor couldn't figure out what was going on. The student really didn't know what was going on. So the instructor said, would you give him a call, talk to him, see what's going on? And it was probably more along the lines of coaching, as far as talking about how do you feel when you're out there using a cane. Talked a little bit about life experiences. And in the middle of the conversation, they stopped and went, oh my gosh, I know what it is. I know why I freaked out now. And it was the realization that that white cane was going to be a very important part of their life for the rest of their life. That little nugget was pretty hard for them to swallow at the time. Then after we kind of talked through it, it was like the speed bump they had to get over to be okay with using a white cane, and really to start being okay knowing that they have a progressive sight loss, even though they're quite young. So to be able to watch somebody go from feeling completely frozen to figuring out on their own, that's what's bugging me, working through it and thinking I'm the best thing since sliced bread. And I said, no, you figured it out on your own. I was just kind of there along the way.
So, what advice would you give someone who may be considering working with a coach?
Specifically, come check us out. We offer a free 1 hour free, first time, see if you want to work with us. And some of you know us from community. Some of you might not know somebody else. Just come see, come ask. Because it's not about what just it's got to be mutual. That's the one thing all of us are very keen on, is it's got to be mutual. It's not going to work if you don't like me for whatever reason. It's just not. It's not, not everybody's ready for this, and it might be that they never are, or that they figure out as part of the process in the first few sessions. Part of that process might be figuring out that they're really not up for that. No judgment here, because everybody's at their own place. So it might be that a few years down the line that they're ready to get help moving forward, or it might be that all they needed from us is to sit. So we offer 1 free hour. Come check us out. Well, you can request a specific individual you want to work with. So
how could someone get involved with coaching in the dark?
We have an email.
And a website.
And a website. It's a groups.io email, and it is low traffic. I send out, so if you notice something wrong, it's usually my fault. But I send out email on Sunday that lists all the calls that you can find on and off ACB community. And then on Mondays, we have a blog post that gets published, and it's not just me writing the blog, it's all 4 of us. A few weeks ago, we had a guest blogger. It was somebody from the sight and hearing loss call, was describing their world, because it had been a really long time since it had been able to hear the world. And the way she described it, it almost read like a poem. So we have guest bloggers. So yeah, that's how you get involved. There's a lot more ways to get involved. Just go look at the website. Show up to calls. It's another way to be involved. have opinions, speak up, or, not having the day, it's okay to sit in the corner and listen.
And we also have a phone number too, 971-236-1123 as well.
So, what should someone expect during their first coaching session?
Well, it kind of depends on the 1 hour consultation is really where a client and the team can figure out how we fit into what their needs are. So what you're going to expect the first time you meet with one of the coaches really depends on what you're looking for. For example, one of our regular attendees on one of our calls had asked me about learning more about using her computer. She said, "Can you help me?" And I said, "I'm going to hook you up with Todd because Todd's a JAWS user and you have no sight lab. So you need to be using JAWS and I can't teach you that." So I turned her over to Todd. So it really kind of depends. If you're looking for coaching, it's going to be different than if you're looking to learn a skill.
Or if you're just needing somebody to sit with you, it's going to look different.
Right.
So generally, we're just sitting here having a conversation. You're asking us questions. We're asking you questions. Some of you might understand that you need help. You just have no idea where to start. Well, we help with that.
Is there any opportunities for group coaching, workshops, or any partnerships?
Absolutely.
Oh, and we are currently doing, how many Zoom calls are we doing right now? Let's see.
4 this week.
But how many total are we doing?
4. Average is 4.
Yeah. So there's
some weeks that it's 3 and some weeks that it's 5. So yeah, average is 4.
And then twice a month, we're also offering VIP living room, which is just kind of a general support call that is not on ACB. And you would need to hop on to our group's IO, and we are sending out that information. So really, that's one group coaching that we're doing right now is our Zoom calls.
But again, we have only been a business for not even a year yet. So September.
Yep.
Oh, that's 6 months, I think.
Yeah, we're only about 6 months. Yeah.
So we anticipate being able to offer more and more services and ways to get involved as time goes on. Like a subscription service, for instance. Podcast, all the things that I'm sure everybody's itching for. We're trying to be mindful and of growing with an intention versus growing just to grow.
So do you guys have any additional advice for anyone navigating career or life transitions?
Be patient with yourself and please involve your sense of humor.
Oh boy, howdy.
Put your pants on.
Dance party.
That's been an ongoing joke for this.
Yeah, look up on your favorite social media pants party. I think it came on, it was a meme that started right about COVID time, and it was this mom trying to get her young child to put pants on, and they didn't wanna. So just your favorite social media, search for pants party, pants time. Yeah.
Very funny.
But when it comes to navigating career or life transitions, I personally feel like being able to reach out, whether it's through VIP coaching in the dark, or there are plenty of support groups on ACB community calls. I personally have found a tremendous amount of help being able to talk to other people in the community, a sounding board. And honestly, and it's one of the big pieces of coaching, it never ceases to amaze me that I'll be talking to a friend about something that's been bugging me, and then all of a sudden the solution comes out of my mouth and I didn't even realize that I knew it was there. I love that moment where I go, oh my gosh, that's what I need to do. I didn't even realize it. I really think when you're going through a major life transition, not keeping it to yourself is helpful.
I was actually talking to a rehab teacher the other day, and I wrote an article called 13 uses for bump dots. And I was going through different options, and they're like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Wow, that's a great, wow. Well, go to our blog or I'll email it to
You
you.
only provided me with 10, sir. I only got 10 on there. You better give me the other 3 so I can update it.
I will do that. I will see. Maybe it was 10. But yes.
Early on, Todd did a call about, I think bump dots was intended to just be the first little part of the call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had plans
Everybody
after
tried-
40 minutes to have another segment. But
And the
no,
whole call the whole call ended up being about bump dots for an hour. Who thought you could talk about bump dots for an hour?
what surprised me, because I co-facilitated with Todd on that call, we had a number of people who were total from birth who said, I have never heard about using bump dots that way. And after the call, it was about 10 minutes after the call, my phone rang and it was Todd. And I picked up, hey, Todd. And he says, bump dots. For an entire hour, we talked about bump dots. Who would have thought? But you know what? When a good basic tool is a good basic tool, it's great to find out different ways of using it. Todd's very inventive.
Kind of circling back to around, because it is next gen, so not everybody, a lot of you are younger and still want to do the working thing, and have had various different experiences with, whether it's Commission for the Blind or Voc Rehab, or it goes by some other name, various different experiences where some of your counselors will let you explore and some won't. You have to go in knowing. Some are really good at brainstorming with you, figuring out what your skill sets are, and really hand-holding you and helping you get that job. Some aren't. I know all 4 of us have definitely experienced that, and all of us are open to exploring untraditional career path that isn't generally thought about for somebody with visual impairment, sight loss, whatever that is. And I'm very, very much pro STEM, STEAM, whatever you want to call it. To the point I was, one day I'll go get my bona fides and be a scientist. It'd be freaking awesome. But I do know if you Google blind scientists, one of the first web pages that pops up is a website that has listed pretty much all of the various scientists and doctors not doctors, but more scientists doing all kinds of different, in various different fields in the US. And I think it's been about 2 years since I checked, but at the time they listed like 22 blind people that are absolutely in the science field, making money, having a career at it. And, it's often discouraged for us to do those things. It's like, no, you absolutely can.
Yeah, so let's go to some more questions from the audience and see what questions they may have.
All right, so you have Amanda.
Hi,
Hey, Amanda.
everyone. Hope you all are all doing well. This is a wonderful call. I'm so glad my meeting before this ended earlier so I could come join y'all. I have a question because this is something that we're seeing here in Kentucky with several new people that are coming in. We have a sighted spouse who is married to someone that is losing their vision and they have questions. And we are answering those questions as best that we can. But my question for you all is have you all ever worked with clients who are losing their vision or are already have experienced a significant amount of vision loss and their spouse or a close family member, relative, or a friend? And if so, do you have any tips on how we can work with their sighted partner there?
Yes. This is Desiree. My biggest one, patience. And that both of you are experiencing frustrations. Both of you are going through the grief process in different ways, but that's where both of you are at. That's my 2 cents. Todd, you're going to say something.
Yeah, I started a training center for the blind in Bozeman, Montana. They're life learner retreats, and we actually have a couples weekend coming up in May, and we're going to tackle that problem. But part of that is the success of it is working with other couples, and so one-to-one couple counseling, it's okay, but it's even better when you've got 2 and 3 other couples working together, hearing the exact same thing. My sighted partner moves stuff on me all the time. Dang it, can't they just put things back where it belongs? Or teaching them sighted guide or coaching them through, but helping them understand that connection. And maybe there's other couples in Connecticut that you can pair them up with and help out. Does that kind of make sense, maybe?
Conversely, you have the other side of where you're watching your partner not be able to do the things that they used to be able to do. And that can be very, very frustrating. Whether it's a family friend that you're super close to, spouse, whatever, watching them go through that and feeling helpless about how to help them. Like, what do you do with that? You know? So we get both sides and we get it.
One of the resources that I would highly recommend, and Todd, I'm surprised you didn't say it, Hannah Fairbairn's book, When You Can't Believe Your Eyes. And I highly recommend it for both someone experiencing sight loss and the people who love them, family members, friends, because it really is written to address a lot of concerns for people that are newer to sight loss, and it gives resources. I think it's a fabulous book. I have left it on my Bard mobile because as I find that I've had sight changes, there are times that I go back and look at different chapters because it is set up with different chapters that really address different parts of life, things that happen, things that are changing. I think it's a fabulous resource that's widely available.
And she does have a website too. So
Yeah.
it's when you can't believe your eyes.com, but
Okay.
in can't, there is no apostrophe, and good resource, definitely.
The type of questions that we get, people think they're off the wall, but I totally understand them as a mom. The husband of this couple was asking things like, "Can I leave her alone with the kid?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can," because she knows, because she has, even though you don't see it now, she has figured out a way to play with her kids and watch her kids, and and she doesn't probably even realize that yet. And so that's That's where we're at. We're seeing a lot more of that now. So thank you all for your answers. I really appreciate it.
Well, and I have to admit, Todd, Oregon used to, when rehab got more money, they used to offer a adjusting to sight loss for couples class. I was fortunate to be one of the last classes that made it through. We did it with, I think there were five or six couples, because we could break up evenly. And it culminated in a weekend out at the coast where our spouses, our partners, were given visual occluders that as close as they can resemble our individual sight loss. And they had to do things like go to the grocery store and shop for dinner and then make dinner. And it was really interesting to have our partners having to try and do the same kind of stuff that we do on a daily basis. And by the way, my husband flunked horribly. I have never heard Tom stop cheating so much in my life. He couldn't handle it. He was absolutely convinced there is no way that my sight is that limited.
William is next.
Good evening, everyone. This is a great call. So I'm going to be moving into a condo pretty soon, as soon as my things arrive from Seattle to Bedford, Texas. But my question is, how would I go about labeling things like the microwave, and what kind of, we do have some bump dots. My sister does have some various bump dots with Braille labels on them. Would you recommend that I label the microwave in like where the start and stop are, or where should I label the microwave in the first place?
I think
One,
bump dots
alcohol.
is,
Wipe it down with alcohol.
Mhm.
and then I usually will do 1, 5, and 0, start and stop. And then if there's a 30-second, I don't put bump dots on everything.
Okay.
That would be kind of but also if there are sighted individuals, using clear bump dots is important. And there's actually a book on Bard called Label It that would give you some more thoughts and ideas. And then the cheapest place to go is Home Depot or Lowe's or any of those places for furniture, because they have big sheets of the pads to help protect cupboards from slamming and so forth. Otherwise, puffy paint, or you can get them through Blind Kitchen or LSNS, any of the catalogs, but those are different places that you can find it. Craft stores are amazing. You know, if you wanted sparkles or moons or, different colors, textures, Velcro works really well. If you want that kind of texture, I will do bump dots of different sizes on my microwaves. So, start and stop may be smaller than, 1s and 5s, and having different sizes will help as well as you start to label things.
Oh, and most home repair sections of stores will have they call them drawer or cupboard bumps, and standard is round, but they also have square. So you got a couple different shapes to feel to help you guide.
Unless you bridge out and go for foam stickers, then you can have all kinds of fun with them.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much.
And next you have Diane.
First, thank you for mentioning Hannah's book. She's working on a follow-up book, by the way, that will have a lot of role-playing situations where you're shopping or at the doctor's office, and kind of helps you navigate these different environments. But to my questions, I have one professional and one personal question I'm wondering if you can help me with. One is, I'm a JAWS user and I'm trying to get manuscripts ready for submission, and I have these really annoying bugs that keep coming up where a particular line is all of a sudden in French, even though I haven't assigned it as French, or another line would have bookmarks, and I can't figure out. I try to do the styles and I'm trying to get rid of these things, and I can't figure that out. So that's troubling work-wise. And then on a personal front, my daughter is pregnant and I'm so excited, but I'm really needing some help with preparing for this life change and having a baby. And I lost my usable sight about 5 years ago. So this is going to be very new and different than what I had originally planned for many, many years ago. And I just would love to get some really good ideas and, uh, you know, good information on how to navigate this new venture.
Is something
We don't
help
have
with.
time for all that information.
Oh, I
It's a
know. I
big-
know, not now. I'm just
But that's
asking,
what I'm
like,
saying.
are
Is
these
that
things
something
that you
we can
could
help
help me
with?
with if I were
Oh
to
gosh,
contact you
yes.
later?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry. I should have prefaced it with that. Yeah. No,
Like
don't
a
answer
6-hour
now.
call.
it's
I'm
okay.
just wondering, like, are these things that you could help me with? And
Very
I'm
much
Yeah.
sorry,
so.
I dialed in late. What is your web address?
VIPcoachinginthedark.com.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. You've answered my question. You can move on.
Yep.
Have a great night, everybody.
All right, I'm going to go to Monica, who has not spoken.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I just want to say thanks so much for this call. I've learned so much. And I know that I can call you whenever I get a grill. I'm so happy. You can teach me how to cook.
Yes.
So I don't have one now, but when I do, I'll be calling you. I'm still gonna write to you guys very soon though. So
Yeah, because
thanks
all
for
of us have opinions about whether or not it should be a charcoal brisket
right.
or gas.
Right.
Or a smoker.
Right.
Oh, yeah, see?
Okay. Well, thanks for this. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, and your last hand is Allison.
Quick comment and then a question. The comment is, I feel that I've had the door slammed on me with the Commission for the Blind in Michigan, so I know how that feels. The question is, what's the DB number for the book when you can't believe your eyes? I'm trying to look for it.
It is actually a DBC number. Let me pull it up because, like I said, I've left it on my active reading. It is DBC 11619. DBC 11619.
And that clears our hands. So, Lindsay, go ahead. We are in the last few minutes.
So thank you all so much for your questions tonight. So could you guys give out your address and any other contact information on how people can get in contact with you or learn more about VIP coaching in the dark?
Well, we don't have a physical address because all of it is online. So, I mean, sorry, I'm being a smarty pants.
VIPcoachinginthedark.com. Email address VIPcoachinginthedark@gmail.com. Phone number is 971-236-1123. Again, 971-236-1123. And check us out on the website. Get registered. You can get our weekly emails. We do blogs and groups IO and stuff like that.
Thank you so much to all of you for joining us tonight. If you enjoyed tonight's event and would like to learn more about ACB Next Generation or join as a member, to go to our website at acbnextgeneration.org, or you may call 202-524-0909. And please leave your name, phone number, and time zone, and we will get back to you as quickly as we can. Also, stay tuned for upcoming programming. And again, thank you all so much for joining us. And thank you so much to the team at VIP Coaching in the Dark for joining us tonight for your awesome presentation and taking time out of your evening to join us.
If you want to know more about ACB Next Generation and the work we're doing to empower the next generation of leaders in ACB, visit our website at acbnextgeneration.org.